Hi everyone, my name is Alabanza. I'm an artist who happens to also be trans and gender non-conforming and many other things. I'm speaking to you because I was asked to think about violence, and it really made me pause because I thought about how hard it is to split violence up into these sections and how much that might be a luxury to be able to think about like violence in boxes. I think when you're trans and gender non-conforming and also racialized, that actually violence permeates so much of your existence that it's hard to really pinpoint where it's coming from and when. I think violence also is disorientating, particularly when it's gender-based violence. I think that gender-based violence is disorientating because you don't know where it's coming from, but also often you're gaslit into pretending that it's not real when you're having it. So to sit and think about it is hard. It is a hard thing to do. I think about how transgendered people, particularly trans feminine people, particularly black trans women and gender non-conforming black people, are some of the most experiencing of heightened violence in society. And actually, when we are dealing with that violence, we are also having to deal with the violence of being told that we are not real, do not exist, and do not experience the very same thing that we know we are experiencing. I think that that is a part of the violence that never gets spoken about. Like, not only are we experiencing the brunt of a lot of gender-based violence, harassment, attacks, deaths, murders, but then also we are then told that we don't exist to experience those things. I think about how what I've loved about lockdown is wearing outfits and reclaiming what those outfits have meant. I'm wearing outfits that for the first time in ever wearing them, I will not be shouted at when wearing them. This is a dress that for the last 3 times I wore before this, I was followed home, shouted at and thrown abuse. I'm now having the first day of wearing it and not experiencing any of that, of reclaiming and retelling that narrative. And I think about how all it took was for outside to be taken away. It's not just trans people that fear outside, but there is a lot of people that think that trans people are the problem. And instead what I see is a commonality and a solidarity and a natural join of people that experience gender-based violence. That actually what is happening here is the hands of misogyny and patriarchy. And I think that actually what this reminds me is that in conversations of violence, there can be so many split and sections that are telling us to take away and go into separate spaces. But actually, I wonder if there is instead a natural bond between people who are afraid of going outside and people who are not. And how in conversations about violence, we can get lost in the head and like go into this space. But actually there becomes a reality of, does anyone deserve to be afraid of going outside? And how do we dream and work for a future where people can go outside as who they are and not be attacked? It seems like such a simple goal, but I think for unfortunately so many trans and gender non-conforming people, it is yet a reality.